Anytime you get a chance to go up against an Eastern Conference rival, you have to make an impact. The Knicks had a chance to do that last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But unfortunately for the Knicks, they could not get the job done, specifically because of their defense. If you look at what happened in the fourth quarter, the Cavs completely obliterated the Knicks inside the paint, and they took advantage of the Knicks' late closeouts at the three-point line. Karl Anthony Towns struggled offensively and on the defensive side of the ball as well, too. But if we're going to take out any bright spots from this game, it has to be the play of Ariel Hukporti, who seems like he's stealing the backup center position from Jericho Sims. We're going to break down all of these latest reports and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Cat's defense is causing concerns, but Hukporti was impressive versus the Cavs. New York versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. This was the matchup I have been waiting for one main reason. The Cavs employ a double big lineup of Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. And I wanted to see how that roster could do against this current Knicks roster with Karl Anthony Towns playing the 5. Because even though Towns does play the 5 very well and he can play defense, it's different than what we're used to as Knicks fans. We're used to seeing players like Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein clogging up the paint, not seeing a player like Karl Anthony Towns. And even though he gives you some advantages, he also gives you some disadvantages inside the paint. One of those disadvantages is that sometimes other players on the opposing team have no fear against him going inside. They're going to shoot over him. They're going to try to go against him inside. They're going to try to push him around and try to get their bucket to go in. We've seen that time and time again. And last night against the Cavs, it was on full display. Jarrett Allen moved them inside, got his bucket to go. Evan Mobley, who is skinny as ever, was able to push him inside and got his basket to go. Basically, he was able to get anything he wanted. Now, it wasn't only on Towns. The Knicks as a team could not guard the paint in the fourth quarter. Darius Garland was able to cook the Knicks inside, got anything he wanted, was able to score from 3, was able to manipulate and create inside, get others involved. And the crazy part about this game was, in the first quarter, in the second quarter, the Knicks were playing very good defense. They were playing great defense inside. And even though I thought that they were giving up too many threes, too many wide open threes, the Cavs were not converting on them. So it wasn't hurting the Knicks. The Knicks were still able to get turnovers, convert those turnovers into points, and they were able to attack inside. Everybody was aggressive. And because of that aggression, the Knicks were able to go up at least 7 to 8 points going into the half. In that third quarter, the Knicks exploded for a 13-point lead. One main reason for that, the Knicks were moving, the ball was moving, and they were attacking. Everybody was aggressive. They were also getting back on the perimeter and being aggressive against anybody who was open. They weren't doing that in the first quarter, but in the second and third quarters, they really locked that down. But then there was one play, one moment in this game that changed everything. We were up 11. Jalen Brunson goes up and then clashes against somebody else's knee. He comes down awkwardly. He is limping. He stays in the game for a little bit, but then he goes out, goes straight to the locker room. At that time, the Cavs smell blood. And as soon as they do, they attack. They are aggressive inside the paint, and they cut the lead from 11 to 4. We're going into the fourth quarter. Thankfully, Jalen Brunson is back, but at that point, it's too late. The Cavs already know the game plan. Attack inside the paint, and good things will happen. And if you attack inside the paint and you penetrate and create, you can pass it to a cutter or somebody open at the wing, and they have a better shot for you. That's what the Cavs were doing each and every time in that fourth quarter. More than that, they were passing it to Darius Garland, and Garland couldn't miss. And once he gained that confidence, and any basketball player gains that confidence, it's hard to shut him down. The Knicks could never recover. We could not come back. And once the Cavs got the lead, they were dominating. They kept the lead. They were nailing 3 after 3. And even though the Knicks made a late push to try to get back into the game, it was too late at that point. We could not get it done, and the Knicks dropped this game against the Cavs. It was a heartbreaker because it was a winnable game. We should have won this game. In my opinion, if we don't lose Josh Hart, if Jalen Brunson doesn't go out in that third quarter, New York wins this game. But the Cavs smelt blood. They attacked, they dominated, and the Knicks could never recover. Here are the stats for the game, but two stats among them all stand out, and that's the three-point percentage and the rebounds. As you can see here, the Knicks shot 32% from three, only taking 28 of them. The Cavs shot 33%. Not that much better, but they took 36 of them. But here's the difference. The Cavs took 36 threes, and a lot of them were open. The Knicks were just lucky that they missed them. Dean Wade, who can shoot the three ball very well, he was open a number of times. The Knicks were late closing out on him a number of times, but he missed those shots. Normally, he would have made those shots. If they went in, this would have been a blowout victory for the Cavs. We have to remember that. The perimeter defense is still a problem, and until the Knicks can clean that up and play good perimeter defense for 48 minutes, it is going to continue to plague them. And this game, it didn't hurt them, but it could have. They allowed the Cavs to shoot 36 threes, a lot of them open. But here's another glaring issue. The Knicks only took 28 threes. We need to shoot more. Just by math alone, if we allow another team to shoot more threes and they make more threes, we are going to lose. If we don't shoot enough threes or more threes than them or get open looks, we're never going to be in games because 3 against 2 is always going to go in favor of 3. It may have not been a factor this game, but moving forward, it's definitely going to be a factor. Teams are starting to understand the game plan of how to beat the Knicks. Go inside, attack inside, penetrate and create, and then give it to a cutter, give it to somebody open at the corner, and then watch the magic happen. We cannot allow that to continue. Tom Thibodeau, I'm looking at you. This is part of your defensive schemes. It's not only on the players, it's also on you. I need to see better from you, and I also need to see better from everybody who's defending the paint. If you're inside, you have to throw resistance to anybody who's inside. Darius Garland cannot have an open floater inside the paint when we have Cat inside, when we have all of these other presence inside. Throw a hand in his face, jump up, do something. Don't let it be an easy play, because if they see that, they're going to continue to do it each and every time. And spoiler alert, that's exactly what they did. Another stat to look at here is the rebounding. Even though the Knicks won the rebounding war 43-41, we only won it by 2. The Knicks' bread and butter is second chance opportunities. We can't win the rebounding battle by 2. That's not enough. We have to win it at least by 6 or 7, maybe even more than that to stand a chance. Defense, second chance opportunities, and moving the ball. That's how the Knicks are going to win games. Sacrifice. That's how the Knicks are going to win games. Let's take a look at the Knicks starters and what they did last night. Let's first look at Karl Anthony Towns. He played 32 minutes. He was 4 of 8 from the field. 4 of 8, ladies and gentlemen. Let me make something perfectly clear. Towns is the second best player on this team. He is your second all-star on this team. He cannot take 8 attempts. He needs to take more than 8. He needs to be more aggressive. He needs to look for his shot more. Tom Thibodeau needs to run more plays for him. Jalen Brunson needs to get him more involved. But it's also up to Karl Anthony Towns. You're the star on this team as well, too. Be aggressive. Ask for the ball and attack inside. If you know you have a mismatch, take advantage of that. Call for the ball. Make sure you get it, and then you work inside to get your basket. But Towns needs to be more aggressive. 8 attempts, that's not enough. And if that continues, the Knicks won't win games. You can't win games when the second best player on your team is only taking 8 attempts. It won't happen. Towns was also 1 of 2 from the three-point line. He had 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and he also ended the game with 13 points. Jalen Brunson, 38 minutes, 8 of 24 from the field. It was a rough shooting night for Jalen Brunson. He even said it after the game. Really, he was missing a lot of shots that he normally would make. And I thought the exact same thing too. Sometimes point-blank range, he was missing shots. That's not Jalen Brunson basketball. I'm not too worried about him offensively. I think that's going to come. Really, I'm more concerned about his knee or whatever happened when he banged that leg or knee injury during the third quarter and he had to leave the game. He said he's fine. but every time he has an injury, he says he's fine. We're not going to know more about it until the next game that we play on Wednesday night against the Miami Heat. But until then, we're going to have to watch Jalen Brunson and his status. If he's out or misses any time, the Knicks are going to struggle. So hopefully he's good. He does seem like he was good. He did play the rest of the game, so everything looks like it's fine. But you never know with these type of injuries. And with a superstar like Jalen Brunson, you have to protect him. Brunson was 0 of 4 from 3. He had 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and he had 21 points. With Anunoby, he played 37 minutes, had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 15 points. Mikal Bridges, 40 minutes, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 19 points. Another thing I'll say about our wing duo is they played extremely well. On the defensive side of the ball, they were doing a lot of things very well. Offensively, things were struggling a little bit in terms of their three-point shot, but I felt like they were aggressive and they were attacking. OG Anunoby especially was attacking, and Mikal Bridges was following along suit. He was hitting that mid-range extremely well. I really like his touch from there, and I hope he continues to do that, because if he does that, I feel like that opens up his game from 3. He's the type of player that needs to see the ball go in a couple of times. And once that happens, he gains that confidence. Once he gains that confidence, he's going to be elite from 3 for the rest of the game. So we have to let him play his game and allow him to get comfortable throughout the game by shooting those mid-range and then eventually shooting those three-point shots. But I loved what I saw from OG and Mikal Bridges last night. You can put a lot of blame to a lot of players, but OG and Mikal, maybe they missed a couple defensive assignments here and there, but they played very, very well. You can't look at last night's game and think Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby were a detriment, were a problem last night. They were encouraging and part of the bright spots to look at from last night's game. But again, if we're looking at bright spots, there is one player I'm looking at more than anyone else, and it's the rookie who came off the bench, Ariel Hukporti. And it looks like Tom Thibodeau is believing in him and giving him that faith, because Jericho Sims, I think Sims played, 3 or 4 minutes last night? Let's take a look at the box score real quick. Sims played 4 minutes last night, had 1 rebound, and nothing else. Hukporti, conversely, played 12 minutes, had 2 rebounds, and did great on the defensive end as well, too. And even though they didn't count it, I'm going to count it. You guys know what I'm talking about. He had a massive dunk on Evan Mobley. Now, he pushed his hand away, and they called it an offensive foul. But if you saw that dunk, it had everybody in MSG out of their feet. They couldn't believe it. I was hyped. Hukporti was hyped. The Knicks bench was hyped. I wish they gave the Knicks those points, but unfortunately, I think they made the right call. If you look at it, Hukporti aggressively pushes Mobley's hand out of the way, and then he clears space, and he's able to get that dunk. If he doesn't do that, I don't think that dunk goes down. But either way, Hukporti's play, especially on the defensive side of the ball, was extremely impressive. A lot of times when he was inside, you saw Cavs players go inside and then pass the ball over to the perimeter and settle for the three-point shot. With Towns inside, a lot of those times when the players went in, they were attacking Towns, attacking the paint, and getting sometimes whatever they wanted. We need more resistance inside, and Hukporti offers that, even more than Jericho Sims does, in my opinion. And if he can get you the rebounding, get you the block shots, and is aggressive on offense as well, too, he checks all the boxes for the Knicks backup center. And with this type of play, what we just saw from the Knicks last night, with Tom Thibodeau trusting him enough in big game situations to give him minutes. He got 12 minutes last night in situations where the game was on the line. That tells you that Tom Thibodeau and his trust for him is increasing. And if that's the case, it's only a matter of time before Jericho Sims is not part of the rotation anymore, and your backup big for the rest of the season is Ariel Hukporti. And that's not going to be something that was given to him. He'll have earned that opportunity based off of his defense, his play, and his aggression on the offensive side of the ball. The way he moves without the ball. He plays the pick and roll with campaign as well, too. Very well, might I add, because when he rolls, you believe it. You believe he's going to get the ball and he's going to be a threat. And that's helping the Knicks when he's on the floor. Hopefully, Tom Thibodeau sees this and he gifts him with more minutes as we move forward during the season, because I don't think anybody can ignore what he looks like when he's playing with that bench unit. He looks better with that bench unit than Jericho Sims does. And that's just my opinion, but I think Tom Thibodeau shares that opinion as well too, given the minutes that we saw last night between Hukporti and Jericho Sims. But one other thing we have to talk about is the play of Josh Hart and unfortunately the injury that he suffered. First, let's take a look at his stat line. He played 38 minutes, 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 13 rebounds, another double-double. He was actually a double-double at halftime. It was impressive. 2 assists, and he had 16 points. Josh Hart was doing everything on the floor, playing defense, making plays, being a playmaker, scoring the ball, aggressive rebounds, offensive rebounds. Everything you wanted to see Josh Hart do, he did, and he was doing it at an elite level. One of the main reasons the Knicks had the lead for most of the game is because of the play of Josh Hart. It's no surprise that when Josh Hart went down, when Jalen Brunson went down, our lead started to dwindle because Josh Hart had a major impact on this game. And once Karis LeVert went after the ball and then hit Josh Hart in his shin and he went down, he got up and he was limping heavily. At that point in time during the game, he should have been pulled, the Knicks should have fouled, and Hart should have left the game, and he should have went back to the locker room. I have no idea why, but he stayed in the game, and he continued to play for at least another minute, chasing after his defender. And then after that, you can see him. He talks to Thibs, and he says, I have to get out of the game. You have to let me go. And then he gets out of the game. He goes straight to the locker room. And now his status for the next game is unknown. You have to think it's questionable with a bruise to that leg. We don't have any idea exactly of the severity of the injury, but Josh Hart was already dealing with an ankle injury. Now he has this injury to deal with. A number of injuries for one of your starters that he has to deal with. A starter that is a key contributor to what you're trying to do. Without Josh Hart, we're likely never going to win the rebounding boards against any team that we play. He had a double-double last night. He had more rebounds than our starting center in Karl Anthony Towns. That lets you know what he means to this team and his impact. If he misses significant time, there is nobody on this team that can come in and do what Josh Hart does. Even if Deuce McBride starts and we have somebody else play significant time off the bench, it's not going to be the same because Deuce is going to have a different impact. Not the same impact as Josh Hart. I was so upset when Hart was continuing to play in that game and he was not taken out. Why is he in the game and he clearly is limping? He does not look right. We don't know if he did more damage to that injury by staying into the game. We're going to have to wait and see what the medical staff for the Knicks release in terms of the next injury update. But as of right now, that injury did not look good. He was heavily limping, and I don't know if the Knicks are going to have him come the next game against the Heat. But what about you guys? What did you think about the Knicks' loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers last night, 110 to 104? What things did you take away from the game? What things did you like? What things did you not like? Let me know in the comments section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.